Yep, Jinx, master of flat understatement. So, what's up? What are the team-ups for today's practice sessions? Shame we can't fit our brand new FOD2 machine in here just yet. It'd be nice to have all those joysticks going at once. Actually, I think I've got a solution to that particular problem. I've got my iris looking for team houses, a way for all of us to live under the same roof and really focus our efforts. If we all move in together, I think we could really push Magnificent Seven's new heights. And everybody else is already on board, so what do you say? Sound good? Uh-oh. I don't know if they like the idea. Is that good silence or bad silence?
No. Not interested.
Oh, okay. If this is about your cat, I'm taking that into account when searching for...
Do you have any idea how hard it was to set up my apartment for proper disability access? Bathroom alone costs a fortune.
That's a very good point. Very valid, Jinx.
Dislodging me from my lodgings is... No. Not interested, no.
That's definitely something that I wasn't even taking into consideration, but she's absolutely right. If you are, with her situation, if you already have a house, a place that works for you, it's tough to be able to find another place like that.
I can't just move out of my home. Sorry. I'm sorry. I can't. It's not really that it's a terrible idea, but I just can't. And...
there's definitely something
Grace,
there.
It's okay. Don't have to apologize or justify yourself. Besides, good, clean fun is our home. Not leaving our arcade. It's our arcade. And not interested in sitting around some bungalow grinding FOD2 in the dark.
Hey, we'd have proper lighting. And I was planning to find a place near GCF so we could keep coming here.
Don't care. I'm out. Grace is out.
Wow,
if we're not
okay.
practicing today, I'm going home. Later.
Wow, just like that, Jinx. Wow. That's kind of... Even if you disagreed with it, even if you weren't into it and you didn't want to do it, that's a little... that's a little extra. That's a little extra. Just tell me that you're not interested. But if you're just gonna be all deflating like that, that's a bit extra. Without leaving me any chance to object, Jinx storms off to the elevator in the laundromat area and heads up to her place. It's almost like she took it personally, almost like she took offense to the suggestion, which maybe there's something more there.
I'm sorry. I can't. I can't right now.
And being extremely eager not to continue this confrontation, Grace turns and leaves, fortunately headed to the pizzeria rather than exiting the building entirely. Okay, so this is a setback. And again, the universe never fails to disappoint. I had suspected Grace may be reluctant, but that was an unusually strong reaction. Well, Coach, what's your plan for fixing this one? I'm always the one fixing everything. I'm sure if I can find a perfect place for both of them, we can make this work. Maybe we should give up and just live in the pizzeria. What's the big deal? I'm sure we could overcome any issues if they'd hear this out. There has to be something more to this reluctance than they're letting on. Something more is going on here, I suspect. You two know them better than I do. What's happening? Why they react so badly? Jinx, well, she said why she doesn't like it, but that's just mechanics and hard work. There's definitely more going on, even if it's not my place to say. As for Grace, not sure. I don't know her as well as you suspect. But I do, and I fear her living situation isn't quite a simple affair. I'd suggest you talked it over with them, one-on-one. Grace does not deal well with group peer pressure, notably. Loxley's right, and whoever you don't choose, I can chat with the other one. Keep things low-key and friendly. I'm sure we can work this out.
This is messy.
I'm kinda miserably bad at touchy-feely. I'll stay out of this one. Let you fine folks do your thing. No worries, Zep. Leave it to me. So, Angelart, who do you want to talk with? This is really interesting. I do slightly like Grace more than Jinx. And I am curious about both of their situations. They both have things going on that I want to, know more about. Oh boy, this is so tough. I wish I could go to both. I care about both a lot. This really stinks. And I really want to know about both. I need time to think. Give me a moment. I need time to think. So I think just because I feel like I'm naturally going to like get to know Grace more, just because of Loxley's whole thing, and her connection with Iris. I feel like Jinx is the one that I would miss out on a lot of story, like to learn more about her. And just in general, I tend to gravitate to Grace more than Jinx, like just in general. I do seem to favor Grace a little bit more, that I kind of would like to bump up my relationship with Jinx a little bit. I am curious about what Grace's like situation is, but I am also more curious about Jinx. And plus I would love to like just get to honestly, I'd love to get to know more about what her life is like in her living situation, and know what takes more to that. I think that Jinx is more of a tough egg to crack, and I feel like it'd be way easier for me to bond directly with Grace. But with Jinx, I think it needs a little bit of extra work and an extra lovin'. So I'll go talk to Jinx. Jinx lives upstairs, right? In the apartments above GACF? Yep, apartment 108. Then that's where I'm headed. Wish me luck. You got this. Plus, I feel like Jinx might be the more challenging of the two. And as the manager, I might as well go after the more challenging one. Just one elevator ride, and then I'll be confronting Jinx in her home, her place of power. This may be a bad idea, but I owe it to the team to at least take a run at it. Arriving one floor up, I start searching for the door to her apartment. It's at the end of the hallway, past other identical-looking doors. Fortunately, I'm not left hanging, as she allows me to her home after a quick knock on the door, rather than making me loiter in punishment. Oh, her apartment looks lovely. Fine, you're here. Say what you came to say. Oh boy, so we're starting out confrontational. Okay. I'm sorry to ambush you with the team house idea. I should have talked to you sooner. If this is a question of disability access in the new place, we can accommodate. You don't have to join us at the team house if you're more comfortable here. I mean, this one is... I don't know if I could... I like the sentiment of this one, but it's like, when would I have been able to talk to her sooner? Like, I talked to her at the soonest possible point, right? Because she and Grace, they came to the arcade late, right? I could have called them, but it seemed to imply that I wasn't really able to like get to them until they walked into the arcade. So talk to you sooner, it doesn't feel right? Accurate? You don't have to join us as a team if you're more comfortable. I'm just gonna say, if this is a question of disability access in a new place, we can accommodate. I want to make sure this new team house is perfect for everyone, and I should have come to you to check what your specific needs were ahead of time. I'll own up to that. Okay, that sounds more accurate. That comes more accurate. But I'm here now, so let's talk this through. What would you need from a new home to consider moving? Surely we can reach an agreement and accommodate you. She pauses, considering my words in her usual analytic manner before responding. It's complicated. Can't just list my needs off the cuff. Have to think this over a bit first. So you'd be willing to join us on this if we can make it work? Of course I'm interested. Well, that's not what you said before, dearie. Like, you definitely reacted in a way that didn't seem to imply that.
Yeah, okay.
It's a great idea. I'm okay with it. If I snapped, it's because, well... With a shrug, she nods to her apartment, and I take in the sights for the first time. It looks like pretty much any other apartment, a bit tidier than mine, but otherwise totally ordinary, until you start to notice the details. Lower light switches so you don't have to reach as high, light padding on sharp corners and hard edges to minimize impact if you trip and fall. Cabinets are lower, drawers are higher, everything is at a nice middle ground, so there's no need to bend over or stand on your toes to get something. The doorways are wider than normal, possibly in case she needs to use a wheelchair, and just from what little of the bathroom I can see through the open door, it's heavily modified. Any idea how much adaptations like these cost? Special furniture, electrical fixtures, plumbing? You don't. And neither do I. Didn't do all this myself. My sibling did it for me. Every last piece of carpentry and home repair was all their handiwork. They own the building, you see? GCF, the apartments, everything. Trying to stave off gentrification as long as we can by keeping Chinatown in local hands. and they were nice enough to give me rent. A rent-controlled space. It's tuned up to my every need. Can't turn my back on that. It'd be ungrateful. Okay, I mean, makes sense. I still, you know, would have preferred if she didn't blow up at me for something that I don't felt I deserved it. If I'm being like 100% honest, because I'm used to being the nice guy who just lets everybody walk all over them and like is always apologetic for things, even if it wasn't really my fault. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be like using apologies even if it's not your fault, because it can be very strategic. But at the same time, I've also been told that growing up, especially as a younger person, I was given feedback that I was a bit of a pushover, and I let people take advantage of me, and I let people kind of walk all over me, and not because anyone was intending to purposely walking all over me or purposely taking advantage of me, but I just made it too easy for people to just do that, even inadvertently. And so I guess I took that to heart once I got older, and I've tried to stand up for myself more. And so this is what I mean by I'm trying to be sympathetic to you, but at the same time, I'm gonna call you on your BS, you know? Like, I can be understanding about your situation and why, the reasoning behind why you blew up at me. But I'm not gonna necessarily, like, you know, excuse or condone that behavior, if that makes sense. I'm gonna, like, call you out on it when it's appropriate. When it's appropriate, I'll call you on it and just be like, look, you know, to be fair, I don't think I deserved for you to blow up at me either. Like, I don't think I did anything wrong. And, you know, you didn't really have... It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool that you blew up on me with something that I believe I didn't deserve. And I like to believe that that's fair. I think it's a very fair thing for me to say. Can't turn my back on that. It'd be ungrateful. Not to mention a lousy idea, fiscally speaking. Uprooting and redoing everything somewhere else. So I'll pay out of pocket if I have to. We will figure out a way. Our sponsor is willing to pay for our needs, Jinx. This counts as a need. I mean, logically, yes. We have the highest paying of all the sponsors. Can any of it be disassembled and reassembled to the new station? Our sponsor is willing to pay our needs for needs, Jinx. This counts as a need. Our sponsor is willing to pay for our needs, Jinx. All I have to do is authorize your adaptations as a required expense. It's appreciated, but where would the money come from? Well, didn't I say that our sponsors were gonna pay for it? Didn't I just say that? Cutting back on team salaries for the others just to keep my A afloat in comfort? You're part of the team. I don't know why that needs to be a question. This goes beyond comfort, Jinx. It's accommodation. Shouldn't have to. Yeah, I mean, you could feel guilty about it, but Jinx never struck me as the kind of person who would feel guilty about something that she should believe is not really her fault. Like, I am surprised that she's acting in this way, because it certainly wasn't the gist that I got from her from the beginning. But of course, you know, you can't judge a book by its cover. She takes a deep sigh, slightly ragged at the edges, looking at the floor.
I'm the team anchor, weighing us down. I'm the albatross. I'm the curse. The jinx. And everyone around me.
Okay, that makes sense. To be fair, Jinx, like, of all of the players, you're not the person that if I were to pick a person who was like the anchor or the one that's weighing the team down, you were far from that person. I can think of two other people that I felt were definitely like more obviously weighing us down more, but I will refrain from saying who those two people are. You all can probably guess who I'm thinking about that. So, like, Jinx, I think you're being a little too hard on yourself.
Nobody sees it that way, I know.
Nobody does.
Especially not Grace. But that's how I feel. That I'm holding them back because I can't budge. Can't move. Can't Or just not willing to try.
That's fair. I don't, of course, want to invalidate your feelings, even though nobody sees it that way, which I do believe. It is how she feels, so I will, that is fair for you to feel that way. I will not invalidate
We
that.
should go to the new team house. Take the others with you. Convincing Grace won't be that hard. I can do that for you. Take them and leave me behind.
I don't think... Yeah, no. That's not how this works, Jinx. It's an option. We don't really need everyone under one roof. Not if she can commute to team practice. Meaning more wear and tear on her knees, riding the subway every day. Whereas before, all she had to do was ride an elevator for 10 seconds. Absolutely not. You're a part of this team. We stand together or fall together. How would you feel about having 6 new roommates instead? So we'll come to good, clean fun and bring the team to you, like we've been doing. No, I'm gonna be bold about this. Absolutely not. No. Absolutely not, Jinx. Nobody's getting left behind. We cross the finish line together, or we don't cross at all.
Not down for that.
Not saying I need to quit the team, doofus. Saying you should move ahead with the house plan without... No. Stands to reason that... Nope, not happening. We are going to find a way to the impossible or die trying. I'm not going to settle for anything less than the absolute best case scenario. Do I know how to fix this? Nah, not really. But I'll keep trying until I've got it solved. And meanwhile, we carry on together as a team. Good, clean fun. This whole building really is our home. It's your home. And I won't change that fact. Thank you. That's some determination you've got there. And, it could be our home. What if... She pauses, considering the idea carefully before she says anything she may regret. I gave her time to sort her thoughts out, not applying any pressure. What if you move in next door? Come again? Apartment right next to mine's empty. Tenant moved out a few days ago. Don't think she liked me blasting my heavy metal albums late at night. Look, I try to be a good neighbor, but sometimes you just gotta ride the lightning with justice for all because you're unforgiven too, and you can't enter Sandman to get some sleep. These are all songs that I'm not familiar with. There's a vacant apartment in your building? Why didn't Iris find it? That'd be my siblings doing. They play things a bit carefully with how they advertise vacancies to keep options open for low-income families and the elderly. I still feel like Iris should have been able to catch that anyway.
Hold on. Think this through.
But maybe they'd be willing to rent to us. And then we split the team across 2 apartments, making one team house effectively. I like that idea. Heck, that means that I can still share a room with Loxley. Could work. It could work. Or they could laugh it off and send you packing. Not gonna lean hard on them for this, Angel Arts. No family guilt trips. Not my way. I wouldn't expect you to. If you can arrange a sit-down with your landlord/sibling, I can convince them. Trust me. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll try to make this work. The relief in her expression is obvious. All the tension and disappointment from before washed away in an instant. See, this is what happens when you actually try to work together as a team and not just give up in a huff and feel like, it's hopeless and there's no way that you all can figure things out. I feel like if you put your heads together, if you say, hey, there's a problem here, I need help figuring out this issue, that's what it's all about. As a manager, somebody like myself who became a manager, that's my psychology. She relaxes the tight grip on her cane and leans heavily against the soft arm of a love seat.
Sorry about that.
Sorry, got kind of intense there. Thank you for the apologies. But glad we could resolve this, Less conflict, less drama. That's how I prefer things. Good. All settled. Although I don't think her self-perception as a failure and a burden is quite so resolved. Still, no need to unpack all the emotional baggage in one day. Sounds good. And remember, we are always willing to go the extra mile for you, okay? You're important to us. Because of my FOD2 skills. No, because you're a pretty kick-butt person. Because you're a friend. Okay, good. If you'll excuse me, should probably go talk to Grace. Let me handle convincing her to join this project. I know why she's really upset. Of course, I don't think she's gonna tell me. You got it. Why is she upset exactly? Family stuff. I'm wondering if that has anything to do with Gavin. I'm curious about that. I don't know if it's necessarily because Gavin wronged her or anything, but it would be kind of cool if she mentioned Gavin in her story if I did follow her. TLDR, she lives with her rich, overprotective, overbearing parents. Leaving the nest isn't easy for someone who shies away from confrontations. Okay, now I remember. I remember Gavin talking about his parents, and I believe at some point he did mention his sister. So that's pretty awesome. But I know her heart. I can help her through this one. Leave it to me. Bit of emotional labor in exchange for helping me out. Just now, okay? Sure thing. Jinx and I left her apartment and went back down to join the rest of the crew. While we took turns destroying each other in FOD2, Jinx and Grace chatted. And by the end of the day, Grace was indeed on board. A wave of relief washed over me, feeling like the hard part was over. Now we just had to make the proper arrangements. A small first step in the right direction. As the evening progressed, calls were placed, meetings were arranged, and surprisingly, Jinx's familial landlord agreed to meet with me the next day. All I needed to do was to get through one good night's rest, and we'd be on our way to a team house. A certain victory in its own sense. A home. Our home. These feelings kept me nice and warm and snuggled in my bed as I drifted off to sleep. Cool. Oh, snap. The crown will be yours if you kneel, and accept that the crown will be yours if you kneel, and accept that the crown will be yours if you kneel, and accept that the crown will be yours if you kneel, and accept that the crown will be yours if you kneel and accept. Beep beep. I jolt upright, nearly falling out of bed, but catching myself just in time. The sunlight peeking in through the slats in my window blind stuns me momentarily. It's morning already? I really like my room. This is really cool, this is a really cool setup. I like that. Beep beep, Angel Arts. Good morning, good morning. You have a 10 a.m. appointment with John Ye. I try to rub the sleep out of my eyes, but my left hand is all cramped up for some reason, which does little to help. Who? Jian who? Jinx's sibling. Jinx's sibling, the landlord of the GCF building? Right. I got a shower. Fell asleep in my clothes again. That's why I woke you up early, so you'll have plenty of time. Are you okay? You seem a bit unsettled. I'm fine, Iris. Everything is fine. I would have said something right then and there. I would have said something immediately. Great, now let's get moving. Magnificent 7 needs a home. Little by little, I pull myself together, getting ready to face the day. And little by little, I forget the nightmare I've been having ever since that night at Hamza's tournament. It's gone by the time I hit the subway platform. Yeah, you definitely should be talking about that kind of stuff. At least to Loxley, since he knows about it. I arrive at the designated meeting place, the Good Clean Fun Pizzeria, with only a minute or 3 to spare. Jinx is already here, waving me over from the corner booth Grace usually favors, although Grace isn't here. Hey, it's almost time. I know, sorry for almost being late. Is Grace joining us? Nah, high-stress business transaction scenarios aren't her thing. High stress? How much of a hard A is your sibling anyway? I'll let you figure that out for yourself. No hints, no tips and tricks. Not my race to run. You're in the driver's seat. I'm just here for the Frieza while you squirm. Here, have one. Jian's paying. With a shrug, I reach over to the offered dish and fetch a slice of Veggie Lover's Ultimate Super Deluxe Extreme, a Ben and Matt specialty. I would definitely be all over that. Vegan's not my deal. I gnaw my meat fresh off the bone, ideally, but Jian's super into healthy eating. And exercise. And yoga. So someone who's incredibly centered and confident and strong and healthy and ready to tear me limb from limb in rental negotiation. You'll see. Well, I've come to kick A, and I'm not going to be intimidated by Jian, no matter how high and mighty they carry themselves, and they're right behind me, aren't they? The stern-looking individual looming large behind me, having somehow silently snuck up, slides a business card across the table before sitting down. MX John Ye. MX! That's my first time seeing it put to use. Chinatown Investment Opportunities, LLC, as it says on the card. Look at that subtle off-white coloring, the tasteful thickness of it. Oh my god, it even has a watermark. Let's make this fast. There's 3 units on the 5th floor with water damage, and I'm directing work crews. Alright, so this person just wants to be, efficient about this. I'm a hands-on real estate manager. I want to be up there supervising those efforts, not taking meetings all day. Right. That's fine. Not my fault that this transaction requires a meeting. Not my fault. This is just part of your job. So, do your job. If you're really serious about being a good, at your job, then, you may want to cut the attitude on somebody whom you just met. Because intimidating somebody who might be a paying customer, like paying your rent, probably, might do you some good. Just saying. They look me over from dropping slice of veggie pizza to my nervous expression, evaluating me, much like Jinx tends to do, in fact. So, you're one of those gamers Jinx hangs out with. Yes, that's me. A gamer is what I am. I am he. And now you want to combine my little sister's apartment and the one next door to make a, how'd she put it, team house? That's the plan. Also, she can play video games all day. Allegedly getting paid for it. I mean, I can show you our contracts with our sponsors if you want data. This person seems like they want data. I have to say, Mr. Angel, I have my doubts. They know my last name. They know my soul. I am doomed. Okay, for someone who is Asian, I have dealt with Asians like this. I'm being very stereotypical, I understand. But again, since I'm Asian, I can say things like that because I'm also Asian. But I've dealt with people like that. Very type A, can definitely be very intimidating, and they use that as a tactic. My parents do that all. My mom and my dad both use that in very different ways. So she kind of acts like my mom right now. So I know how to navigate through that a little bit better. Whether or not that reflects on this game is a different story. You may not be aware of this, but my family owns this particular chunk of Chinatown. We've owned it for generations. Yeah, the only reason you're telling me that is because you're further trying to, intimidate me. Not because it has really anything to do with what we're talking about here. I'm the one who ultimately owns Good Clean Fun. Ben and Matt operate it so I can focus on other affairs. I own the apartments. I own the corner bodega. See, this is just textbook, trying to flex. You're trying to flex in front of me. I know that tactic. I know that technique. So, not necessary. You're just, if you have to resort to those type of tactics, my respect for you starts to plummet a little bit. If you have to tell me, don't tell me the reasons why I should respect you, or take you seriously. Show me. Show me. Don't tell. Don't tell. I'm trying to preserve the character of Chinatown, Mr. Angel, in the face of pressures from far larger developers than I. I don't have time to be distracted by wild goose chases and esports streams. Well, I mean, you don't have the time, and yet you're here. So if you bothered to come here, you might as well listen to what I gotta say. Otherwise, you wasted the, however many minutes it took you to come down here, as opposed to attending to the people that you really want to talk to. So apparently, it was worth your time enough to mosey yourself down here. You might as well listen to what I gotta say. Just saying. So, what exactly can you possibly say to convince me I shouldn't have you thrown out of my building? Jian, you don't intimidate me. Sure, at the end of the day, you can say no to me, but don't feel like you're gonna intimidate me. You don't scare me. I don't get shaken up by people like you, because I guarantee you, my mom is 10 times scarier than you, sweetheart. Don't even try. My mom is definitely 10 times scarier than you. Okay. Be convincing. Beep beep, this is an intense identity situation. You can only pick a response that matches your top 2 personality traits. For some reason, I don't think she's gonna be super, responsive to, quirky, me cracking jokes. So I probably need to go, the other route. We'll be good tenants. No biker gangs, no ridey parties, no lightning furniture on fire. Your sister and I share a common dream, to play games together with all of our friends.